Thank you very much. Let's see if this works. Yes. Is it okay? Maybe a little bit. Just. All right. My topic for today: the Albanian language and the Albanians. Where did they come from? And the picture symbolizes a popular belief, also among scientists, that they came from a mountainous area where they were able to stay as a separate identity and not become Romans or Greeks or Slavs or anything else. And it's a picture from the valley of Thrace in northern Albania, a very pretty place. Now, as a scientist, you also often begin with some caveats. So one of the main messages maybe for today is that people are not language. In other words, a people is not the same as their language and vice versa. So the things that I'll be talking about today, there are two different kinds of descent, you might say, that we have to take apart, to keep separate. One, the genetic descent of people, right? You inherit your genes from your parents, and they've inherited from their parents, and so on and so forth. So if you know enough about your ancestors, and about the area where you live, you might eventually say, okay, this is where I come from, right? These are my genes. This is my ancestry. That's not the same as linguistic descent, right? Sometimes it can be, right? Many people speak the language of their parents, they imitate what their parents speak, and their parents have started to speak what their parents spoke, and so on and so forth. If this went on for 80 generations, you get back to the year zero, and the language may have stayed the same. At least it's sort of one unbroken line, right? The language always changes, but it changes bit by bit, of course. But very many times this is not the case, and there are language breaks, right? Instead of speaking like your parents, you start speaking like your friends, your neighbors, right? Where I grew up, most people in my village, they spoke a local dialect of the southeastern Netherlands, and especially the people of my parents' generation, but then they tried to speak Standard Dutch to their children and teach their children basically first of all to speak Standard Dutch, because they thought this was very important to get ahead in life afterwards. So then you get a switch. If enough people do this, right, you get a switch in language at a certain point. And there are, all over Europe you can point at examples of this happening, like in Paris, for instance, in the year zero, they would have spoken Celtic, and later they started speaking Latin, and this became Romance and then French. And you can say the same for London. There have been different changes in language. Or Berlin, first it was Slavic speaking, then it became German speaking, and so on. A bit more, an example with even more switches, for instance, if you take the city of York in northern England, right, the genetic descent of people living in York now might be local. They might go back to people living there 2,000 years ago, because it's always been a town. But linguistically, there are several switches that have taken place. Right? Initially, they probably spoke Celtic, and then at a certain point during the Roman era, at least the cities and the east and the south of Britain started speaking Latin. And then a few centuries later, the Germanic peoples come from overseas, and you get what we now call Old English. Right? So there's a switch to the Germanic language. And then a switch to another Germanic language when the Scandinavians, the Vikings, come to England, especially to the eastern and northern parts. So Old Norse was certainly spoken in York in the 10th, 11th century. And then again, this was left for what we now call English a few centuries later. Right, so you have at least 4 shifts of language within one place. Right, and this is from a town of which we know quite a lot. We have written documents from all of this period, not from every year, of course, but if we compare it, for instance, to the Balkans, it's a much better documented situation for most parts. So you can imagine how complicated the situation can be, especially if you don't know so much about the history. And so the question where did the Albanians come from is ambiguous, and I can ask at least several counter questions. Right? Do you mean the Albanian language? Do you mean the gene pool of the Albanians, so to say, the genes of all the Albanians, which you now call Albanians, together, or even part of them? Or do you mean the name Albania? I will also be talking about a little bit at the end of the origin of the name, the old and the modern name for Albania. Let's take a quick historical look at some of the things we do know. And we start a few centuries before the Romans came to the Balkans. And there are several peoples of which we know that they lived on the Balkans. To the south of Albania you have the Greeks, which at that time already they called themselves a separate people, and we know their language, so that it was indeed a separate language. In other parts of the Balkans, right, you have the Illyrians in the southeast, so Albania, Montenegro, maybe that area. Thracians to the southeast, so in modern Bulgaria. Dacians further north of the Danube. And the Messapians, which are not on the Balkans but in southeastern Italy, but which are mentioned already in antiquity as being related to the Illyrians. We don't know for all of them what their language looked like and whether it was a separate language or whether they actually had more languages, because what we have of those languages mainly are inscriptions with names, but hardly any grammar or real vocabulary. They do all look like Indo-European languages as far as you can tell by the names. Now none of these classifies as a clear ancestor of the Albanian language, as far as the language is concerned, but again, that's for a large part because we just don't know what their language looked like. And then if you strike out those, nothing else is left on the Balkans of which we know anything, except for Greek, which is not the ancestor of Albanian, though Albanian, of course, has some loan words from Old Greek, from before the Roman era, but not many, at least not many in the Albanian that we have now. This is just a map to be sure that we know what we're talking about, so the placement of Illyrian to the southwest, Thracian to the east, Dacian further north in Romania, and then Greek and Messapic. All right. Then we get to the Roman era, and you see two languages becoming more dominant, especially in the, let's say, international traffic as languages of larger distance communication. So Greek to the south of a certain line and Latin to the north of a certain line, which I will show you in the map on the next slide. Now, Albanian has many loanwords from Latin, very many, but not from ancient Greek. So the general idea is that Albanian was in an area where Latin was the main language of communication. So that Proto-Albanian was spoken to the north of this dividing line between Greek and Latin influence. By Proto-Albanian we mean an early stage of Albanian, of which we don't have written records, but we have to reconstruct it on the basis of what we know from later Albanian. And it's a stage from which then Tosk and Geg, the two main dialects, grew apart. So here is just this line between Latin and Greek influence, very roughly on the map. We're not very sure, of course. It's called the Juricek line, after the first scholar who determined where the line more or less should be, mainly on the part of inscriptions on stone, right, that you find in the area, grave inscriptions, etc., put in Latin or in Greek. So Albanian would have been somewhat to the north of that line, straddling the line. Just to show some examples of what these Latin loanwords, these many loanwords that we have, look like, the Latin word, the Albanian word, and then the translation. So you see, usually the Albanian word has become a bit shorter, but you can still, after a while, you recognize those words. So amicus, the word for friend, has become mic, right? Hospitium has become stepi, house. Civitatem become citate, city. So the place of the stress, the accent is still as in Latin in most cases, and some other syllables have just disappeared. Right? Medicus has contracted to miec, centum has become cin, the word for 100, so there the end has been lost. Ecclesia has become kirche for church. Familia has become familie, meaning child. And then paucum, for instance, has become pac. So there, for a large part, frequent words that you use in everyday, like house and city, but also adjectives like little. So all over the vocabulary, you could say, you find Latin words in Albanian. So sometimes I like to say Albanian just escaped becoming a Romance language, but maybe 100 years more and it would have become a Romance language. But if we move on in time a little bit, we find other languages with which Albanian has some things in common, so with which they have been in contact. And one of them is Romanian, and we can see that Albanian and Romanian have some words in common, these not being the core vocabulary, but usually agricultural terminology, house terminology, some animals and plants. So if you look at here, for instance, the Romanian word tsark and Albanian fark for pen or enclosure, especially used for little animals, young animals, you see they're very similar, and we think that they developed from a Proto-Albanian form, tsarko, so the ts 1500 years ago became what is now the third in Albanian. And there are various linguistic reasons to suppose that it was borrowed from Albanian into Romanian. Another example, right, Romanian piriu and Albanian perua for torrent, mountain, stream. And we would reconstruct Proto-Albanian perano, something which flows very quickly. The word for badger, Romanian viezule, Albanian viedule, from a Proto-Albanian viedzula. Right, the L between vowels in Romanian becomes an R regularly at some stage early enough. So this also shows you that the Albanian form is older, and also in Albanian you can connect it with the verb vjev, to steal, right? Which is often used to derive animals like martyrs and weasels, which steal your chicken by night. Okay. Now, so the direction is clear, but still you can make several scenarios for what exactly happens, right? You can say this is the word, but what did the speakers do? So one possibility is just that you had Proto-Romanians and Proto-Albanians living next to each other, communicating very often, and the Albanians had some words that were useful, so the Romanians borrowed them. Maybe they didn't do these activities themselves, right, but they borrowed them. But I guess that Proto-Romanians would have known badgers anyway. So the other option is that some of the Proto-Albanians switched to speaking Romanian, and other parts remained Albanian, but some parts just started speaking Romanian, and these became the Romanians, and they took with them some of the words, of the household terminology which they used very often.